The cursed sisters of Orvina in a cold and quiet planet called Orvina. Two sisters lived far away from the city. Their names were Zyra and Thena. They were not like others. Their skin was silver blue, their eyes glowed in the dark, and they never spoke unless needed. People feared them. They called them the Cursed Ones. In the city of Orvina, everyone believed the sisters brought bad luck when crops failed or storms came. People blamed Zyra and Thena. Even their own family turned away from them. The sisters were sent to live alone in the dark mountains near the edge of the crystal forest. Zyra. The elder one was calm and strong. She always protected Thena, her younger sister. Thena was quiet and shy, but her heart was full of wonder. The sisters had a secret. When they were close to each other, strange things happened. Time moved slower, rocks floated in the air, and sometimes they could hear voices from the sky. No one knew about their powers. No one cared to ask. Every day, the sisters walked to the crystal forest to collect herbs and water. Birds flew around them, and animals never ran away. It was like nature trusted them. But even in this peaceful place, the pain of being alone never left. At night, they sat on the high rocks and looked at the stars. Do you think there are others like us? Thena asked one evening, her voice barely louder than the wind. Zyra looked at the sky. Maybe, or maybe we are the last. Why do they hate us? Because they don't understand us, Zyra said softly. Suddenly, that night, a loud noise broke the silence. The sky turned red for a moment. A streak of fire crossed the stars and crashed into the forest. The ground shook, birds flew away in fear, trees bent from the blast. The sisters ran toward the sound. They were scared, but their curiosity was stronger. The forest was dark and filled with smoke. Broken trees lay everywhere. And then they saw it. A strange metal object was half buried in the ground. It was burning and broken. Lights blinked from inside it. Zyra moved closer and saw something inside. A figure, not Orvinian. It had no glowing skin, no long arms, and no tail. It was different. What is it? Thena asked, hiding behind Zyra. Zyra single quotes as eyes widened. It's a human. She had read about humans in old storybooks. They lived on a faraway planet called Earth. Most Orvinians believed they were weak and primitive. But Zyra never believed those stories. She always thought there was something special about them. They pulled open the door of the ship. The human inside was badly hurt. His face was bleeding and his clothes were torn. He was breathing, but slowly. He's dying, Thena said. We have to help him, Zyra replied, but he's an outsider. So are we? Zyra touched the human's hand. It was warm and soft, not like Orvinian skin. She closed her eyes and focused. The air around them grew still. The trees stopped moving. Even time seemed to pause. She used her power to slow the bleeding. We can't stay here, Zyra said. Someone will come. They must have seen the crash. Together, they lifted the human and took him to a hidden cave behind a waterfall. It was a place only they knew, a place of silence and safety. They placed the human on soft moss and covered him with a warm blanket made of forest leaves. Zyra created a small light orb. To keep the cave lit, Thena brought water from the stream and carefully washed his wounds. They watched him sleep. He was breathing better now. Do you think he'll wake up? Thena asked. Zyra nodded. He will. And when he does, we'll finally have someone who doesn't fear us. Outside, the night grew colder. But inside the cave, something had changed. The sisters, once cursed and alone, had found a reason to hope. They didn't know it yet. But this one human would change their lives forever. And soon, the galaxy would learn the truth about Zyra and Thena, the cursed sisters of Orvina, who were never cursed at all. The human who fell from the sky. The cave was dark, except for the soft glow of a floating orb above the sleeping man. Cold air from the waterfall whispered through the stones, but inside, it was calm. Zyra sat close to the human. She had not slept. Her silver blue eyes watched his face carefully. His breathing was slow but steady now. Next to her, Thena curled up, already asleep, her hand resting near the man's arm like a silent promise. The human's name was still unknown. They didn't even know if he would wake up. Zyra thought deeply. Who was he? Why had he come here? Was it an accident or something more? Suddenly, the orb flickered, her eyes narrowed. Something was coming. She stood up, stepped outside the cave, and climbed the rocks to the edge. From there, she saw the forest. It was too quiet, not even the night. Birds sang. A thin red line blinked in the distance. A drone. Someone was tracking the crash. She rushed back into the cave. Thena, wake up. Thena opened her eyes, blinking. What's wrong? They've found the ship. We need to move him deeper into the mountain, but he's weak. Zyra didn't wait. She reached down and placed her hand over the human's chest. She closed her eyes. The orb above her began to spin faster. A low hum filled the air. The man gasped and opened his eyes. His eyes were dark green, confused. Afraid. You're safe, Zyra said in her calm voice. You're on Orvina, he coughed. Where am I? His voice was cracked, weak. You fell from the sky, Thena whispered. My ship burned, Zyra answered, and now they are looking for you. He tried to sit up. Pain shot through him. Don't move too much, Zyra said. We don't have much time. His name was Jace, Captain Jace Mercer of the Terra Voyager. He had been on a mission to explore unregistered planets. When something strange pulled his ship off course, his instruments went wild near Orvina. No signals, no escape. Now he was here, being saved by two alien girls that everyone else feared. He looked at their faces. So young, yet so calm. His training told him to fear them, unknown species, unknown intent. But his heart said something else. Why are you helping me? He asked slowly. Zyra didn't answer right away. She looked at Thena. Thena gave a small nod. Zyra stood and touched the cave wall. A part of the stone opened like a door, revealing a glowing chamber because, she said, you're not the only one who fell. They led Jace into a hidden chamber under the mountain. Crystals lined the walls, glowing softly in the center. Floating in a field of light was a map of the galaxy. Thena touched a crystal and zoomed into a small system. This is your home, she said. Earth. Jace stepped forward, stunned. How do you know this? Zyra walked around the map. We see things. When we sleep, when we dream, when we touch the stars. How? We don't know, Zyra admitted. But we've always had this connection, visions, voices, energy. Others think we're cursed. Thena added. But you don't, Zyra said. Jace looked at them, understanding slowly forming in his mind. You're psychic? No, something beyond, quantum-linked. We are what Orvina forgot, Zyra said. The past and the future. Outside, the night turned deadly. A black ship flew low. Its engines silent. Inside, Orvinian soldiers, tall, armored, and heartless, received orders from high command. Find the human, kill the sisters. The government feared Zyra and Thena. Ancient records once spoke of two beings who could bend space and time. Orvina had erased those records long ago, but now the power had returned, and they were afraid. Back in the cave, Jace listened as the sisters told him their story. How they were abandoned. How they could feel the pulse of the stars. How they once stopped a lightning storm with just a scream. He understood something now. He hadn't crashed by accident. Someone or something wanted me here. He whispered. Zyra nodded. We felt you days before you came. We even dreamed of your face. Thena said softly. Jace felt chills. This was more than science. It was fate. But fate was not enough. The cave suddenly shook. Explosions echoed in the distance. They were here. Zyra stood, her eyes glowing brighter. They found us. Jace stood, still weak but alert. Can you fight? Zyra turned to Thena. They joined hands. The air around them shimmered. Stones floated. Time slowed. We don't fight, Zyra said. We bend. Outside, the soldiers entered the forest. A thick mist covered their path. They saw nothing until Zyra appeared, floating above the trees, her body surrounded by light. Behind her, Thena stepped forward, eyes cold. Stand down, Zyra said. The soldiers laughed. They raised their weapons, but the bullets never reached her. They hung in the air, frozen, like flies in ice. We warned you, Thena whispered. And then silence. A flash of white. And the soldiers fell, not dead, not hurt. Just forgotten. Their minds emptied, memories erased. They would wake up and not even remember why they came. Zyra and Thena returned to the cave. Jace watched them with, oh, you could have killed them. We don't want death, Zyra said. We want truth, Thena added. Jace looked at the sky. Then let's find it, together and deep in the shadows of space. Something watched. Something ancient. Something afraid, because now the sisters had a human on their side, and nothing would ever be the same again. Secrets of the alien sisters. Deep inside the mountain caves of Orvina, silence ruled. The human Captain Jace Mercer sat near a glowing wall, watching the alien sisters who had saved his life. Zyra and Thena moved in perfect sync, speaking only when needed. Their every motion held power, as if they were pulling energy from the very air around them. He had seen soldiers fall without a single touch, bullets frozen mid-air, time bending, minds wiped clean. But Jace didn't feel fear, he felt wonder. Still, one question remained inside him like a sharp needle. Who were these sisters really? The next day, Zyra brought him deeper into the mountain, further than even Thena had gone before. The walls grew darker, older, and covered in glowing symbols Jace couldn't understand. These caves are alive, Zyra said softly. They remember what? Jace asked. Everything. She placed her hand on the wall. A heartbeat echoed. A part of the stone cracked open. Inside was a round chamber of crystal mirrors. Hundreds of Orvinian faces stared back at him, not reflections, but moving memories. An ancient king, a woman floating among the stars, two small girls glowing in a circle of fire. What is this place? He whispered. Zyra looked at him. This is our truth, and our curse. Centuries ago, Orvina was ruled by a powerful race known as the First Bloods. They were few in number but could bend space, light, and even time. They lived not in cities, but in starlight temples. They did not use weapons, they were the weapon. But fear grew. Other Orvinians, jealous and afraid, started a war to erase them. The first bloods were hunted, their children hidden or destroyed. But to survive. Baby twins, marked by the stars. Zyra, and the Na. Hidden by their mother, protected by the mountain. They were never told. They were never supposed to live. Jace felt the air grow colder. Your descendants of the first bloods, Zyra nodded. We were born with their memory in our blood. But no one was meant to awaken it. Then how did it happen? Zyra's voice dropped. We don't know. But it started the night we dreamed of Earth. Meanwhile, Thena sat outside, watching a stream of silver water flow. Her fingers touched the surface and small lights danced around her. She was remembering how, as children, they had accidentally stopped time during a thunderstorm. How their father had looked at them with horror. How their mother had cried and whispered, run. The government had always known, they had just waited for a reason to strike. Now Jace's rival had given them one. Back inside, Jace stepped forward. You're more than Orvinians, you're connected to something bigger. The galaxy speaks, Zyra said. But no one listens. But you can, only together. Why? Zyra paused. Alone, I am time. Thena is space, together. We are balance. Jace stared. Space and time, gravity and thought, energy and memory. You're not weapons, you're keys. Suddenly, the chamber shook. A crack opened in the ground. From beneath the floor, a deep hum began to rise. Zyra stepped back. They found the chamber outside. A new threat approached, not soldiers. Hunters. Black cloaked, faceless machines created long ago to hunt the first bloods, forgotten by most. But someone had reactivated them. They did not speak, they only followed the scent of ancient power. And now, they were close. Jace, Zyra, and Thena rushed through the tunnels. Glowing lines along the walls flickered as they moved, as if the mountain itself was helping them. We can't fight the hunters, Thena said. They feel what we feel, then we give them something new to feel, Jace replied. He opened his backpack, pulled out a small cube of tech. This is Terran neural code. It's designed to connect living energy with memory, he said. I've never used it like this. But if I link it to your minds, we might be able to trap the hunters in their own memory field. It's dangerous, Zyra warned. We don't even know what memories they carry. Then let's find out, Jace said. They reached an open canyon deep under the mountain. Light poured from a crack in the ceiling above. The hunters were there, waiting, moving slowly like shadows. Zyra and Thena stepped forward. Jace placed the cube between them. Focus, he said. Think of who you are, not what they called you. Zyra's hands glowed. Thena's body lifted off the ground. Wind howled through the canyon. The hunters raised their arms. But too late. The cube lit up. Energy burst outward, and time stopped. In that moment, Jace saw it all. The ancient war. The crying mother, the hidden birth, and a vision of Earth under attack. But not by Orvinians. By something worse. Something that wanted the sisters dead, not because of what they were but because of what they could become. The cube shattered. The hunters turned to stone. The light faded, and Thena collapsed. Zyra screamed, ran to her sister's side. But Thena was breathing, weak, eyes open, heart still beating. She gave too much, Zyra whispered. Jace knelt beside them. She saved us. Zyra looked at him with burning eyes. No, she saved them. Who? Zyra stood, staring at the sky through the canyon roof. Earth. High above Orvina in a hidden command ship, a voice spoke. They've awakened, another voice replied. Then send the message to Earth, warn them. A pause. What about the human? Eliminate him. Asterisk betrayal from within the mountain. Was quiet again. To quiet. The Na rested in the healing chamber, her skin pale, her breathing soft. Zyra never left her side. Jay sat across the room watching, thinking. The battle against the hunters had shaken him. Not just because of the danger, but because of the vision he saw inside the energy cube. A vision of Earth. Cities in flames. Sky ships falling. And in the center, a symbol glowing in red. The same mark he had seen on the hunter's armor. She'll wake soon, Zyra said. Her voice tired. Jace nodded. What happens then? Then we leave Orvina. Leave. Where will we go? Earth, Jace blinked. But why? Zyra stood and walked to the crystal window. Because you were never supposed to come here, and we were never supposed to live. You think Earth is in danger? Zyra turned. I saw it in the memory. Something is coming. And it fears what we are. Jace stared at her, the weight of the truth settling on his shoulders. And what are you? Zyra's eyes glowed softly. Hope. But not everyone wanted hope to survive. Far above, in the sky city of Valanus, General Korth of the Orvinian High Command watched a screen. On it, footage of Jace, Zyra, and Thena in the canyon, the hunters turning to stone, the energy cube bursting. The moment the sisters unlocked full power. A voice behind him spoke. We warned you. The bloodlines would return. Korth turned. Standing in the shadows was an old man in a golden robe. A member of the Silent Circle, the hidden rulers of Orvina. The council will not allow this to continue, the old man said. Send the enforcers. And the human? He is not the threat, the old man whispered, but he is the key. Back in the mountain, Athena finally opened her eyes. She smiled weakly at Zyra. Did we win? Zyra nodded. We survived. Jace walked forward. We need to talk, all of us. The three sat in the center of the cave, the orb of light above them casting long shadows on the stone floor. Jace explained what he saw in the energy burst. The red symbol, the burning earth, the fear in the enemy's mind. Zyra and Athena listened in silence. Whatever is coming, Jace said, it's connected to both our worlds. And it doesn't just want to destroy, it wants to erase. Zyra took a deep breath. Then we must go, before it's too late. But as they prepared to leave, someone entered the cave. An old woman with white hair, long robes, and eyes like frozen glass. Zyra froze. Mother, Athena gasped. You're alive. Their mother, Lady Illyra, stepped forward slowly. I was never dead. Only in hiding. She looked at Zyra. You've grown into what I feared. You knew who we were. Zyra said, and you didn't tell us because it was safer that way. Safer for who? Illyra sighed. I did what I had to. I betrayed your power to protect your lives, but now they know, and they are coming. Who's coming? Jace asked. Illyra turned to him. The Duskborn, the Ancient Ones, the true enemy. We saw them. Athena said, in the energy burst. No, Illyra whispered. You saw only a shadow. The Duskborn are older than time, and they have waited for the moment you awakened. Before more could be said, the cave exploded. Rock, dust, and fire filled the chamber. Through the smoke walked black-armored enforcers, elite Orvinian soldiers. And behind them General Korth. Zyra. Athena, he said coldly, you are under arrest for genetic treason. Jace pulled his weapon, but was shot in the arm. Zyra stepped forward, rage in her eyes. You fear what you don't understand. Korth laughed. We understand. That's why we must stop you. We saved Orvinians from the hunters. Athena shouted. You exposed yourselves. Korth replied. And now the galaxy knows the First Bloods are alive. That is not peace, that is chaos. Suddenly, Illyra stepped forward. You will not take them. But before she could attack, a blade pierced her back. A spy, hidden in the cave all along. A family friend. Someone the sisters trusted. Zyra screamed. Nitrogen monoxide. Illyra fell to her knees, blood on her lips. Forgives me, and then she was gone. Betrayed from within. Zyra collapsed beside her mother's body. Jace pulled Athena behind a wall as the soldiers moved in. They were surrounded. There was no escape. And just as Zyra raised her hand to unleash her full power, a voice echoed through the cave. Enough, everyone froze. A strange portal opened in the air. Blue light flooded the room, and out stepped a tall figure in a silver suit, face hidden under a mirrored helmet. Double quotes, come with me, the figure said. Who are you? Jace asked. The figure looked at Zyra and Athena, someone who still remembers what the galaxy forgot. Zyra stared at the body of her mother. Then at the enemy. And then she reached for Athena's hand. They stepped through the portal. Jace followed. And in one flash they were gone. Leaving behind only silence. And a war that was just beginning. Escape and the hidden truth. Light swallowed them for a moment. There was nothing. No sound. No pain. No gravity. Just a cold, endless light. Then, suddenly air. Jace landed hard on a crystal floor, coughing beside him. Zyra and Athena fell to their knees, still weak from the fight. Above them, the sky shimmered with swirling galaxies. They were not on Orvina anymore. They were somewhere far beyond. Where are we? Jace asked, trying to catch his breath. This is the Veil, Zyra whispered, looking around. A floating island, surrounded by stars, drifting through the void like a forgotten dream. It wasn't space. It wasn't a planet. It was something in between. The silver-suited figure stood ahead, motionless. Zyra walked toward him. Who are you? The figure lifted his helmet. His face was human, but his eyes, they were glowing gold. Older than time. And yet, familiar. My name is Silent, he said, and I was the first. Thousands of years ago, before humans, before Orvinians, before even the First Bloods, there was a race called the Ethereals. They did not live in space, they lived with it. They could move between time and memory, shaping worlds, planting seeds of life. They were caretakers of the stars, but one of them turned. He believed power should not be shared. He wanted control, to reshape all life in his image. He broke away, taking others with him. And from his mind the Duskborn were born, beings of hunger and void. They began consuming galaxies. The Ethereals fought back, but many died to stop the spread. The surviving Ethereals locked themselves inside the Veil, a dimension between life and death. Silent was the last guardian, and now he had brought Zyra, Athena, and Jace here for a reason. You're not just part of the First Bloods. Silent said to the sisters, "You are the final echo of the ethereals. The last chance to stop the Duskborn." Jace frowned, "But they're ancient. Why now?" Silent pointed to Thena. "Because she opened the path." "Me?" Thena asked, confused. "When you bent space and touched the minds of the hunters, you unlocked a forgotten code buried in your blood. The Duskborn felt it, and now they are moving." Zyra stood silent, shaken. "So we're not cursed, we're designed." "You were never meant to be weapons," Silent said. "You were meant to remember." As they rested in the veil, Silent showed them visions. Jace saw Earth, not as it is, but as it was. Before humans. Before cities. When the sky itself was alive with visitors. Ethereal ships. Earth was once a seed planet, planted by the ethereals. Humanity was born from both Earth and starlight. But over time, humans forgot. Wars erased the past. And when the Duskborn came to test Earth once before, it was Zyra and Thena's ancestor who drove them back. But the memory was lost, only the sisters' blood remembered. "You must return," Silent said. "To Earth." "Why?" Zyra asked. "Because the Duskborn's first attack will begin there. And only you can stop it." Jace stepped forward. "But they'll be watching us, Orvinian armies. Enforcers, spies." "Not just them," Silent said. "There's someone else." He turned to Zyra. "Your father is still alive." The room fell silent. Zyra single quotes as eyes narrowed. "No, he died during the purge." "That's what they told you," Silent said. "But he survived, and he has been hiding on Earth." Jace looked stunned. "How is that possible?" Silent walked toward the edge of the platform. A portal formed in the air, glowing bright blue. "He knows the truth of your birth, and he holds the key to stopping what's coming." "Where on Earth is he?" Thena asked. "New Athens." Silent said. "Underground, hidden beneath the human world." "Then we have to find him," Zyra said. "Before the Duskborn do." Silent nodded. "But be warned, not all humans are on your side, and not all enemies come with weapons." As they prepared to leave, Silent gave each of them a gift. To Zyra, a silver ring that shimmered when time bent. To Thena, a crystal shard that glowed in the dark, revealing paths unseen. To Jace, a blade made from compressed memory, a weapon against beings who live between thoughts. "You are now guardians," Silent said, "not of a world, but of balance." They stepped into the portal. Light once again swallowed them, but this time, they were ready. They appeared in the middle of a stormy night on Earth. A rooftop in a human city. New Athens. Year 249. Rain poured. Sirens wailed in the distance. They had returned. But something felt wrong. Jace's visor scanned the skyline. And then he saw a strange ship hovering over the city. No lights, no markings, no sound. Zyra grabbed Thena's hand. "They're here already," Thena whispered. "We're too late." Suddenly, across the sky, the same red symbol appeared, the mark of the Duskborn, flashing on every screen. And then a message: "Your time is over. Surrender the blood." The final stand on Orvin was no longer quiet. As the red mark of the Duskborn burned across every screen, the sky above New Athens split open. A black hole shimmered, silent, perfect, and terrifying, and from it came the enemy, not ships, not soldiers. Shadows. Moving like smoke, speaking through fear, bending light around them. Beings that didn't walk, they slipped through cracks in reality. They were not invading. They were consuming. Zyra, Thena, and Jace stood on the rooftop, staring at the impossible. "They're not just here to destroy," Jace said. "They're here to erase everything. We can't fight them like this," Zyra whispered. But just as all seemed lost, a voice spoke through the storm. "The battle isn't here." A ship appeared, sleek, silent, and glowing from beneath. It landed gently near them. From it stepped a man in silver armor. Tall, older, eyes filled with sorrow and fire. Zyra froze. "Father?" she whispered. The man Kaelian nodded. Double quotes. "I tried to stay hidden, to protect you from this," he said. "But it's too late now." "You knew this would happen?" Jace asked. Kaelian looked at the sky. "I helped build the seal that kept the Duskborn away, but when you awakened, they found you, and the seal broke." Zyra stepped forward. "Then we make a new one." "Not here," Kellen said. "On Orvina, in the place where it began." Within hours, they returned to Orvina, this time, not as fugitives, but as the last hope. But the world they left behind had changed. The skies of Orvina were filled with dread. Cities were burning, mountains cracked open, portals swirled above military bases. And the Duskborn had begun feeding on Orvinian energy cores, growing stronger with each breath. At the High Command Tower, General Korth watched helplessly as his elite forces fell one by one. No bullets worked. No fire burned them. They were beyond weapons. And then a portal opened behind him. He turned, weapon drawn. But it wasn't the enemy. Zyra entered, glowing, silent, not anger-focused. Beside her walked Thena, still and calm. And behind them Kellen and Jace. "Ready for war. You shouldn't be here." Korth hissed, "This is your fault. You made us your enemy," Zyra said. "When we were the only ones who could help you, we don't need your help." Thena raised her hand, and in a flash Korth's gun melted. "This isn't about power anymore," she said. "This is about survival." At the heart of Orvina, deep beneath the world's crust, there lay an ancient structure, the Origin Stone Data. Device built by the First Blood's half-machine, half-living memory once. It had sealed the Duskborn away. Now, it was cracked, fading. Zyra and Thena stood before it. Kellen placed his hands on the stone. "We must fuse your power into the seal," he said. "Lock them away, forever, and what happens to us?" Zyra asked. Kaelian looked at her, eyes heavy. "You won't survive." Double quotes silence. Wind howled. The mountain trembled above. Thena stepped forward first. "If we run now, we lose everything." Zyra nodded. "We were born for this." Jace grabbed her hand. "There has to be another way." Zyra smiled. Soft but strong, there never was. As the sisters stepped into the seal's chamber, the Duskborn arrived. They poured into the sky like a black tide. Cities shattered. Oceans rose. Orvina screamed. But deep inside the Origin Stone, light began to rise. First gold. Then white. Then blue. The sisters floated, hand in hand. At the center of the chamber, the stone pulsed, their veins lit with energy. And around the world, people looked up and saw stars falling. But they were not stars. They were memories. Every life the Duskborn had taken was returning to light. Above, Jace and Kellen fought to protect the chamber, but it was hopeless. The Duskborn had found them. They were moments away from breaching the core, and then it happened. The sisters looked at each other one last time. No words. Just love. Then they closed their eyes. And spoke the final command: restore. The light exploded. Across the galaxy, stars flared. Ships shut down. Portals closed. The Duskborn screamed, and then they vanished. Every single one. Gone. Sealed. Erased. On the surface of Orvina, a calm wind returned. The sky cleared. Oceans stilled. Animals came out of hiding. The world had survived. But Zyra and Thena were gone. No bodies. No sound. Just silence. Jace stood at the edge of the broken chamber. His voice cracked. "They're gone." Kellen put a hand on his shoulder. "No, they've become part of the seal. They saved us. They saved everyone." Years passed. Orvina rebuilt. Earth healed. The galaxy formed a new alliance in honor of the fallen sisters. And Jace became the first ambassador between worlds. He carried their memory everywhere he went. But sometimes, in quiet moments, he felt something in the air. A shimmer, a soft hum, and he knew they were still watching. One night, in a small village on a peaceful moon, a baby was born. Her eyes were silver blue. Her voice calmed storms. And when she laughed, stars blinked. Legends never died. 20 years later, the galaxy had changed. No more war, no more Duskborn. The stars were safe, but the memory of two sisters, Zyra and Thena, remained in every corner of space. Songs were sung about them. Books were written. They were called many things: the cursed ones, the Starborn twins, the guardians of time. But Jace Mercer never called them legends. To him, they were family. Jace stood at the edge of the Hall of Light, a monument floating above Orvina's moon. The walls were made of crystal, glowing softly with memory echoes. Anyone who entered could hear voices from the past. Tonight, Jace was alone. An old man now, scarred, tired, but still carrying their legacy. He touched the center crystal, and their last words echoed through the room: restore. His hands shook, his voice cracked. "I never said goodbye." Back on Earth, the world had changed to new cities, new skies. People traveled between planets now. Children learned about Zyra and Thena in schools, not as myths, but as saviors. And yet no one truly knew where their energy went. After the final battle. They were not buried. Not burned. Just gone. But deep beneath the surface of Orvina, far below the Origin Stone, something stirred. A pulse. Slow. Steady. Waiting. On a quiet planet, far beyond known star maps, in a village untouched by time, a child played alone in a field of glowing flowers. Her name was Sola. She was small, quiet, but when she laughed, the air shimmered, and when she touched the flowers, they bloomed instantly. Her skin was pale, her hair silver white, and her eyes, they were blue and gold. To colors, one soul. One night, as the stars danced above, Sola walked into the forest. Drawn by a voice she couldn't explain. A whisper. Soft. Familiar. Sola. She reached an old stone, placed her hand on it. It lit up. A portal opened, not like others. This one didn't lead to space. It led to memory. Inside, Sola found herself floating in light. Two figures stood ahead. Zyra. The not alive. Not dead, just they're. Part of the seal. Part of the galaxy. Watching, waiting. They smiled at her. "You're the next," Zyra said. "Not to fight," Thena added, "but to guide." Sola tilted her head. "What am I?" Zyra knelt. You are the echo, the future, the child of balance. Am I alone? Never, Thena whispered. We are always with you. Back in the village, Sola returned, but she was changed. When she touched the sky it listened. When she cried, the rain stopped. And when she dreamed, stars moved. She never told anyone what she saw. But she always looked at the night sky with a knowing smile. Because she understood something the world didn't. Legends don't die. They become light. They become stories. And sometimes they return. A new signal across the galaxy on an old Terran ship drifting near Saturn. A signal appeared on a broken screen. Encrypted, ancient. But simple. Just one word: awake. And a second later, two energy signatures lit up across space. One from Orvina. One from Earth. They were rising again. The end.